This conference will now be recorded.
All right, calling the meeting to order at 6:13. I am now going to request that all the callers, while we do our work session, if you can mute yourselves, or I'll mute you, and then we will open it up when we get to public comments. Okay. All right, so we've got two callers. Ron's on the phone. Ron looks muted. Unmute him. Okay. All right. We'll circle back to the policies when Joe gets here. He's going to be a little late. I'm going to do a few. We'll start with resident requests. So there were two requests. One was the removal of the ruins on the waterfront at California Beach. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Okay.
We know what the ruins are. I don't know what the request is.
The request is that a resident fell and was asking that we consider removing them, putting signs up, doing something that they felt that this could be somewhat of a safety issue. So there's a lot of history to those ruins, which I think we will be met with a lot of resistance. And I think it's also to get in there and dig those things out. It's going to require DEC permitting, and it's probably going to take a really long time. I'm not opposed to putting up a sign, but I think that if we put up a sign, it's going to have to be something that we have to get permission from the resident who owns that property up to the high water line, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? The ruins in front of
California
where's the
by the dock, to the left of the dock.
somebody tripped over
At
them
low
walking.
tide, they're exposed. So there's
Some of them
two
are.
parts. There's the remainder of the dock, right?
That's in the
stick
water,
up. And
right?
then to the west of it, there's almost like ramps. And on low tide, those are closed and they're slick. And I think that's where the resident fell,
Correct.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So you would need, if you posted a sign,
The sign would have to be, I think you could put the sign in two places. If we put a sign, it would be in the pathway going down, right? That just says, I'm totally fine with the sign. I think that trying to remove them is going to be a challenge. But having a sign there, letting residents know, there might be exposed
Wood, rocks, slippery things in the beach.
It is a beach. There's rocks. There's a lot of things to trip on. But
is
those
there anything now that just like on any part of the beach, any kind of use at own risk?
Yeah, well.
No, I don't think it's one
Would it
of
fall on
risk, but it's
like anybody who goes down climbing down, going down with the
It's
water.
not swimming.
No, there's rules, but there's not like
I think
be careful and don't trip
I think
over
that's
wood.
kind of a given. I would think.
Yeah, until somebody falls and hurts, and maybe that's a questioning for Joe. If there's if there's exposure or responsibility for the.
All right, so let's
just a general.
When he gets here, we'll see where he's at with
You
that.
post it on the dock with all the other rules. When using the beach, use caution.
Okay.
Things sticking up.
But I'm just to
Not
be.
opposed to it.
I'm not
just
opposed to
curious.
this. I'm not opposed to a sign. I think that trying to remove those is going to be
Agree.
very expensive, and
They might have a historical significance.
they're not. I don't think they're historically
They've been there
claimed,
forever.
but they do have a historical significance. So I think let's start with a sign, and we'll talk to Joe about what we can do with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Halloween protocols. This was just a kind of quick debrief. We had said we had made the recommendation on the lights, leaving lights on, turning them off when you're done. I had a resident contact me saying that they should leave their lights on all night because turning them off draws people to empty houses.
Oh my.
I think the rule,
That's fine.
the suggestion you said was great. Keep your lights on until 9 o'clock, and then if you're not going to run out of candy, you don't want to participate, shut your lights off. That's
If
what
you wanna
most
leave
of
your
America
lights
does.
on and somebody knocks on the door, then you don't answer it.
Well, most of America knows that if your lights are off, you don't knock on the door.
I think we just,
Leave it.
I think
Yeah.
we just remove
Did-
the recommendations.
Did you have any, issues on Halloween? You think we should just do away with the recommendations?
I think most of America knows
Yeah.
you know,
I
if
think
your lights
that
are
is-
on, you got a
I
pumpkin in
think-
front of your house, people go trick
I
or
think
treating.
it
If the lights are
eliminates
off, they
that,
don't
yeah.
go.
I think people have done it anyway. People, they turn
Okay.
off their lights, let them do it at their own behest, and if somebody feels like they're safer, if they feel it's a
Including
safety
the
issue.
recommendation to,
I like
wrap it
I
down
like
at
that-
9?
No, I think that's different. I like that. I like that.
What you
Alright.
did prior
Yeah.
to
so
Halloween.
let's just do the wrap it up at 9 and call it a day.
Can I just
Exactly.
make a recommendation?
Yes.
Perhaps you don't make any recommendations on this.
Yeah.
Because, and the reason why I say that from our stance, we get that people like to turn off their lights so that they don't have people coming to the door looking for candy at a certain time of night, whatever that might be. From our stance, when we're trying to patrol at 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night, it's very, if all your lights are out, it's very difficult to see your property.
Yeah.
And it does attract.
I think that's what we're saying now.
So,
So leave the
yeah, let them do
recommendation
their
for
own
9
thing.
o'clock, but let
Best
the
thing is
residents.
spotlights that go on and off on their own, do the motion, that would be what you might recommend.
Okay, but are you okay with just saying, hey, try to wrap it up around 9? It was kind of a loose recommendation.
I wouldn't tell people to shut off their lights.
All right, so
This
no.
is more for the trick or treaters to wrap up trick or treating around 9 o'clock
I
and
would
just
let
leave
them
lights
make
out of it.
All right, so you know what? Let's let it. When we get back to Halloween next year, we'll see where we're at. Okay. Okay. Couple of things. The building clerk salary is going to be changing. Cindy was doing kind of a little double duty, still training, and so she was putting in more hours than what her building clerk salary, what we had assigned her. So we let her go hourly, and we're going to be switching that over to, what was it, $475 a month? A month. So it's actually going to be less than what she's getting now, because she's going to be, she's kind of phased out. Our clerks are now clerking. So that's just a change. It really doesn't affect anything. It's actually a little bit less, and she's just going to be on a monthly payroll than rather than a hourly. All right. I'm hopping around. Okay. Oh, okay. Village Hall mural project. See that wall? I did some research into like those peel and stick murals where you could do the whole thing. And I wanted to do something, if everybody thinks it would be nice, I would do like a collage of all the old time photos that we got at the village, the history thing. Yeah, at the museum. Do something that covers the whole wall, and that we can peel it, put it on, and then if we don't like it, pull it down, get the kind that is removable and doesn't damage the wall. So the cost of that is going to be, depending on the material and the exact size, anywhere from $500 to $750. So if everyone's on board and thinks that might be nice, I will start designing and send out a proof. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Oh, here's one that we didn't go over last time. Jeremy with drain filters.
I brought my homework.
You did? Good.
So we looked into some options for the drainage issues and a little bit of preventative measures. So I've come across kind of 4 different types. The cost of them, I mean, cost-wise, it's not terrible, but I think it's just looking into what labor is going to be in disposal and how we would navigate that. So there's 4 separate kinds. You have one that has basically a kind of like a barrier across the gate, and this sits flat here, so everything kind of piles up on top.
How does the water get into the?
These have filters through, so the mesh, it's like a mesh coating through here underneath, but it sits pulled tight, underneath the grate. So the water goes through, but the leaves just, everything kind of piles up on the top here. And then you have this second part.
Yeah,
This
what
here,
is that? That
this
little
is
hot dog.
So it's like a, same you see that can be wrapped, just kind of wrapped around the drain. So basically what these are, anytime you have, they're used a lot when you have oil spills and water spills in the home and you're trying to bury an area. So they lay flat, and as they soak, they absorb, and then they just block off. And then
So
basically
the water runs through that?
the water will run underneath, but it'll stop the leaves from going in through the hole. So we have two openings, right? We have the main, we have the grate, and then we have the curb opening.
Mm-hmm.
So this protects the curb opening, and then this protects the grate opening. So they would basically pile up there. You can also get one of these that just like wraps around here, the front of it, and sits out in front and does this. I think there's a picture kind of like this. This is on that. And then it just sits out and it loops around and protects, so it catches leaves and rocks and stuff and allows the water to flow underneath, and then it goes into the drain. The next gets a little more complex, and then so this is similar, but this has a catch system underneath. So the grate comes up, this lays underneath, and there's actually a catch system that gets pulled out and emptied.
So every time that there's a storm with
So this is the
Got
idea
it.
to it. So
we have to have somebody clear it.
yeah, you'd have to have somebody clear it.
Does the other one have to get cleared too?
Yeah, not as yes. I mean, because it's going to have a pile up. You're not having somebody all the time remove the grate. You're
But it's gonna
having,
be in
but
front
it's
of it.
but it's going to be piled up on it. So you're going to have somebody eventually come through and clear it. The last is a bit more complex. This is like if you decide to do, attack the drainage throughout the community. This company comes in and they will fit a drain system inside to each individual drain. They come out and measure out and put these buckets with removable poles inside of it. But it's the same philosophy. It's a catch system. So somebody would physically have to remove
How
them.
much is the easy one, the first one?
Like 100 and anywhere between the cheapest is 80, the most expensive is 500 with the secondary pole system. The median is 130 and 150 is the median ones
What do we
per
have?
drain.
86 drains or something
But
like that?
we don't, if we decided to do this, it wouldn't be something we would have to do everywhere because there's only certain areas that are really problematic. It's mostly
Yeah.
where they run down, where the leaves run downhill, like at the end of,
Yeah.
at the end of Washington.
Washington.
That's like the worst spot. Frank, have you seen any communities that do this little drain catching thing?
I'm not aware.
How many other communities have catch basins? A lot of, like Port Jeff has sewer system, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Would this stay up all year long or just in the fall? Somebody
You
would have
got,
to
so
set them
these
and
are
remove them?
yeah, they have to be set and removed. They don't have to be permanent. People might think they're an eyesore being left up all year, but it's something that if we,
For the fall?
if we in the fall for a couple of months during the foliage drop, if we indicate a couple of real problem areas, we could test one or two out and see. I mean, realistically, I think testing, if we're going to do it, I think we should test it on one or two drains that are problematic and just see the reality of what it's going to take and how often they're going to have to be dropped and filled.
So I think
cleaned.
if we're gonna test it, we'd have to test it more along the line of not just one or two, because I think the only way to know how well it worked is when we get the drains cleaned in the spring to see how much.
Yeah.
If the people who clean the drains say
There's a difference.
these were not super filled,
Sure.
whereas normally we know that the ones in California, that's like the biggest problem. So if we were to do it, I think we should do all of the ones, because they catch and then they all filter into the same place. So if we only do two, the other ones, we'd have to do.
So then something potentially for the spring or for next fall. So we would take the data we would use this fall as like a data point, right? And see how much they're filling up from the last clean out. And then once they're cleaned out again, we can install them and have a benchmark and see if there's a difference.
And I would just do California.
They primarily get filled with silt and sand, not so much leaves, right? When we suck them out, it's mostly the silt in it.
No, it's a lot of leaves too.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, the leaves break down over the winter. So they pull out a lot of, I mean, it's not all leaves, but it's, everything gets
I mean,
down there.
there-
And
Will
then
this,
the
will this
leaves,
protect it? Does it have to have the silt go through it, or
No, it's designed to pick up silt, soil, dirt, leaves. And these will soak up, oil. So if you have an issue with runoff from the streets and vehicles and stuff, it'll soak up that as well.
Because I find like the too fine, they don't do anything. They get clogged.
Sure, you don't want them to clog everything
That's what we
up.
did when we did our gutters. We don't want the fine ones. You got to get the ones that
Sure.
prevents the leaves but still allows the water.
Yeah, I mean they're designed for flow through. They're a pretty popular brand. It's called Pig Storm or PIG storm drains, Pig Storm drains. I mean they're pretty. You want to look them up. They, Grainger carries them, and a couple other big, supply houses carry them. So if you want to take happy to take a look and have a discussion. But I do like using, seeing we're already in the middle of, foliage now falling.
it's not, now it's not the time.
Yeah, it's not gonna.
All right, so why
So
don't
maybe
we,
use we do that. We wait until fall's over and they get pumped, and then see how that just do a check in.
so why don't when we do the drain, when we clear the drains,
Mhm.
we'll make a point of asking whoever the company is that clears it.
Yeah, they
I
may
think
have
do we all agree that Washington's the place to do this?
I
That's
think,
got the
yeah,
most?
just by the natural flow
All right,
down,
so why
I
don't
would
we
agree.
have that, we'll just kind of ask them if they can kind of give us an idea.
Like the full what they're what
I don't know if they have a way of saying,
Well,
was it super full, 50%? I mean, I don't
they
want
can
them.
tell us how much they pull
Sure.
out of it, right?
Yeah,
How
well,
much
I
the
don't know
truck
if they,
pulls out.
I think they pull out to fill up the truck and then go, so I don't know if they're gonna have
So
an
we'll have
accurate
to
measurement,
follow
but they'll be able to
Okay.
tell us
They'll be
like
able to tell us.
how full
Tell us
full
last
was
time.
it, and
Okay.
so let's do that. We'll circle back. We'll have the drain guys keep an eye on it, and we'll circle back.
Sounds good.
All right. Revised speed limit sign. Unless we get a ton of objections, we're probably going to be lowering the speed limit. We're going to need to tally up the signs that need to be changed. Frank, do we need to do every speed limit that's here? Is it just the entryways? I mean, we're gonna obviously, everything that says 30 is gonna have to say 25, but do you feel like there's a sufficient amount of speed limit signs in the village?
Never actually counted, but whatever you do have out there, it does obviously all be replaced.
Okay,
But
And there's one like on Washington that says now 25 around the turn. Would that go to 20?
yeah, no, 25 what?
So the one going out on Washington in front of like Kim Thayer's house before it says 20. It says 25 around the curve. So would you change that now to 20?
That's a yellow cautionary
Yeah,
sign, it's
yeah.
not actually a speed limit sign.
Right.
If they're advising you to use caution and use that speed limit around the bend, it's not actually a speed limit.
Right. No, I understand. But I'm saying if the speed was 25,
If you're lowering the speed, yeah,
you would change that to 20 instead of
you
25
could do
now.
that, you could lower that one, I guess. Like, that's a Joe question.
Okay,
Well, if the speed limit is 25, you wouldn't say around the curve to 25, right? You'd always
Well,
say a
you,
little
I mean,
less.
you could just move that.
Just to remove it altogether, right? That's how
sorry.
Because if I'm not mistaken, those reductions are based on calculations for how the curve is. So some are like even lower.
Theoretically, not our village.
I know. I'm just saying, but if that's calculated based on the curve,
Maybe on the highway.
then in theory you could just remove it. I think is what you're saying, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that's probably better.
All right, so John is not gonna be here anymore, so I need a volunteer trustee to count signs and do a little legwork for that.
I'll do it.
You will?
Yeah.
Okay, you're a good person.
I'll take the kids for a stroll.
Okay.
Count signs.
There you go.
That works. All right. So on the next one, our deputy mayor and trustee Musillo has resigned. Do I have to read their resignation? I don't, do I?
No.
No.
So he has resigned and is moving on to greener pastures in
Objection.
Nassau County. So on a personal note and professional too, John, you've been a huge asset to the village and a great friend to the village and to myself and everybody here. And we are going to miss you and Mike a lot. And
Thanks.
thank you for everything that you did
Yeah.
for us.
Been a great ride.
Yeah. So, and we
Love
hope
you
that you
guys.
come back and visit and hang out.
Absolutely.
I know your mom and dad are nearby, so we're looking forward to you not being gone forever.
That's right.
But that being said, I have two positions that will be opening up. One is an appointment for a trustee to take over for John until the next election in June. And I would like to appoint resident Ray Graham to that position. He is smart, young, fresh-minded, and ready to go. So I would like to do that. And then I would like to appoint Jacqueline Taylor as deputy mayor to be my right hand until the next election as well. So if everyone's in favor of that, we will do a resolution and make the switch. Yeah?
No
Yes.
objection.
All right, very good, thank you. Joe's still not here. Let's go over, we could go over a couple things for the village policy. Jacqueline, you could do yours, but before that, so there is we have to adopt, as we're redoing the policies, Jess came across, a change that we have to make, correct? It's kind of retroactive that
Yeah.
we should have made it a little while.
2021, it's our retention schedule. Used to be the MU1, and basically the New York State Archives condensed it to the LGS one. So there used to be like MU1, MS1, basically for educational systems and all the, local governments. They condensed it all into one big LGS one. So until then, we can't dispose of any records until we adopt this LGS one. It's basically the same, the retention, a lot of stuff you could just, it's permanent and stuff. It's not a huge change, but we can't really do anything until we adopt the resolution.
So we have to make that switch. So I've got that on the resolutions. I just wanted to let you guys know about that.
I just have a quick question. Did we retain any files off premises?
No, just like cloud-based, like our computers, like our cloud, but not on.
So no like physical files, we don't use Magic Mountain or any of those?
When I resign, you will automatically delete my emails and all of that, right?
Mhm.
That'll just happen the day. Okay. So there's nothing I need to do anymore.
No, I
No.
think you're all done.
Well, no, he's
You gotta
done
send
until
him-
he's
Yeah,
here
the
till the
25th.
25th.
But yeah. But
So-
after that, you'll do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take them off my phone too, but it won't matter because.
All right, let's see.
Check in with Joe.
Yeah, just see where he's at. Okay, well, we can actually go over a couple of other things. For one thing, the HR policy, Jacqueline, you were not here at the last meeting, so if you want to give us a quick briefing on what you edited.
Well, that was the ethics policy.
Oh, it wasn't the HR?
No. it's the
I made a
ethics.
mistake.
That's
Okay, so ethics policy.
Okay, so I had a lot of questions about this policy because it looked to me like something that was just taken from another village or county and kind of just made into the Pocwa one. So does everybody have this last page?
No, the one that you,
Yeah,
That you,
the
it
photo.
was attached to the back of my,
yeah, I had.
yeah, so that's fine, just so people can kind of, and I made more changes since this anyway. So if you look at B, right, it lists 3 different sections. So it's municipal officers, employees, and professionals. So it's basically covering those 3 things. I don't know if technically we are called municipal officers.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
We are. I think.
Okay, so that's fine. But then when you go to C, throughout this whole thing where it's not consistent with listing all of the 3 categories. So if you go to C, it talks about, now it's officials and employees. I think it should always say the same thing. And I also didn't know where within these categories, because we have a lot of committees, right? Like we have the planning board and so this should encompass everyone who's dealing with the village. So
Maybe
professionals, I'm thinking, is like a Joe Pro cloth person, right?
Right.
Employees are employees. Municipal officers, that wouldn't encompass the committee.
No, those are
people.
volunteers.
Well, no, I don't know.
We're all volunteers, though. I
Well,
mean,
we're-
as far
we're
as,
officers, if they're on a committee, they're just a volunteer, they're not an
so
officer.
that's one of my questions. I have committees. Does this code of ethics, I'm assuming the code of ethics should apply also
Across the board.
Oh, yeah.
across the board.
Sure.
So there should be probably another category in there, right?
Yeah.
It would be municipal officers, employees, professionals, and all board
Appointees
members.
or volunteers. It could be a commissioner, it could be somebody on a committee.
Well, it
I
would be
think-
all the committees,
I
right?
think we have to come up with, the first part of it should include all of everything,
Everyone, right.
professionals, officers, appointees,
Yeah,
and
or volunteers.
employees. That's it, right? It's four
Well,
things.
it would be four things, because this really only addresses three, and then as you read further on, sometimes it only addresses two.
But it's okay if it only addresses two, if it's relevant, if it only
Well, the
addresses.
following regulations shall be followed by all officials and employees,
I have to include that. We'll include all
serving
four.
an employer by representing the village.
I think that's one of those things where you say 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yes.
going forward,
Yes.
known as employees, right?
Exactly.
And then it doesn't matter.
Right.
I just heard a car, so hopefully that's
So
Joe.
then when you get to appear in a professional or agency capacity, we don't really have agencies here. Do you know what I mean? So I think the verbiage, I think this whole thing, it's good as far as the intent, but the verbiage, I don't feel in a lot of areas suits us in particular when we talk about agencies. And then when you go into officer or employee, it goes into a whole nother thing. No person shall be deemed to be a municipal officer or employee solely by reason of being a volunteer fireman or civil defense volunteer. Now, legally, if that has to be in there, it's fine. Except, then it says, except a fire chief or assistant fire chief.
Yeah, somebody cut and
That
paste
doesn't
this.
apply to us at
No,
all.
they cut and paste it
So-
somewhere.
If for legal reasons, we need to leave in being a volunteer fireman or civil defense volunteer, but that whole thing about except a fire chief, I think that should definitely.
I think we should strike that whole thing.
Yeah, just cut and paste.
Right. Again, actions resulting in financial benefit, we should also add in here municipal officer, employee, professionals. Now, if you have somebody on a committee, right, and they have a company themselves that they're gonna use to fix a problem or something in the village, the way this kind of reads is like, they really shouldn't be doing that, and that doesn't really make sense to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Rich did a whole proposal for the environmental, right?
Mhm.
And it would, he has an environmental company, we would be paying that company. And as long as we all agree on the pricing and we get other quotes and stuff, but it says here, if you read it, unless I'm reading it incorrectly, a municipal officer or employee shall not use his or her official position or office to take or fail to take any action in a manner which he or she knows or has reasons to know may result in a personal financial benefit for any of the following. And one of the things listed is his or her outside employer or business.
But that doesn't so much apply, because he's not considered, I mean, I don't know.
It's his
Joe, how
business.
does that work?
But I
And
think
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I was late. I had,
Well,
But I think-
we'll let you
what is
get
it,
a,
can you just tell me what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
so we're talking about
Ethics
the code of ethics policy, right? And we're talking about actions resulting in financial benefit prohibited, which obviously we all understand. But I was just using, so like, Rich Parish will give us a whole synopsis of maybe something that needs to be done in the village regarding something environmental. And then if we agree, yes, we have this problem and this is how we're gonna fix it, he could use his company to do it. We could get other bids and everything. But the way this reads to me is that we wouldn't be allowed to do that, and that doesn't make sense to me.
The Rich Parish is separate from the entity that his company is, and they still have to bid it out, so it would be like a direct.
Right, but he would be like, he is,
He's the environmental commissioner.
yes, exactly.
So, but when he gives us a presentation, he's not acting
So
on behalf of his company.
No, but if we give the work to his company,
Yeah, but the way it's worded, she's saying,
You're
it
saying-
does
I'm
say
just saying
it's
that-
prohibited.
which I think is completely fine, it just seems the way it's worded
Right.
makes it like,
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
How does this normally work, Joe?
do you know what I'm saying, Joe?
Yes.
You're saying the way that it's worded, that no member within in any of these should be able to benefit, so his companies shouldn't be in consideration, is what
Well,
you're saying.
his
the way that
company
it's
or a
written.
member of his household's company, or,
Sure.
it just doesn't really make sense to me, the way that it's
So,
worded.
this is all governed by, the general municipal laws, sections of the 800s, which I'll make copies of and email to you so you can take a look at.
So this whole thing we're
And,
picking up off of, that's why some of it seems like it doesn't
I feel like it was cut and
relate to
pasted.
us.
Right,
well,
so-
maybe-
And what is it that you're reading?
It's like
Is it
firefighters and stuff. It's
Code
the
of
code of
ethics
ethics.
policy.
From,
The building code. Well, it was
oh, from our
adopted.
code, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, apologies, okay. I just don't have it in front of me. So
Yeah, I
the
hate
thing
that.
is that, the thing to remember, I'm not
Let
saying
him
this
take a
for
look at
any-
yours.
Thanks. I'm not saying this for any particular reason, but basically, the first thing to remember with that code of ethics, when you talk about these types of transactions, is that people in your immediate family are deemed to have the same interest as you. So you can't. So when we're talking about having these potentially, when we talk about transactions that would require disclosure, they can be with members of your family, also not just with you. The second thing is that basically you're required anytime there's a transaction where an officer of the village and officer or employee of the village might have a benefit, it has to be disclosed.
Right,
And probably it should not be directly entered, but it depends on a transaction by transaction basis. It depends on the need, whether it's an emergency, the needs of the village, things like that. But definitely would have to be disclosed. And
even for like a committee, like not a trustee, but somebody who heads up one of the.
You have
committees.
a member who's an appointed commissioner of California Beach and happens to have, I don't know, a floral company that's going to put in flower beds or something. That's still a conflict.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
okay.
so sometimes in a lot of cases, you can't enter the transaction at all.
Okay.
And in some it has to be disclosed. But I can give you the provisions of that, those code
Okay,
sections.
that's just, yeah, I felt it was a little, for how small we are, and
But he's saying that it's coming from a larger,
Yeah.
it's all based,
well, that's what I.
our rules are based out on a
Right.
larger scope, so we have
Right.
to follow those.
Okay.
So,
And
Okay.
I would be more careful where, and I'm not saying this for any particular reason, just general advice. Where there's an advisory role, and then or consulting or advisory role, and then the consultant,
Oh, yeah,
ends up with the contract. I mean,
yeah, that's the whole.
I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't really happen that way
No.
anyway. We haven't had a situation where there's been that kind of a conflict. So,
But
No.
good.
but I think to Joe's point, we should steer away from the conflict, the possibility of a conflict. And if that means that somebody who has that flower business and is also the commissioner and they really want to promote their flower business, well, they can step down as commissioner and then I kind
Or
of,
they could, disclose it, and if the board found it acceptable, it's not like we're paying them $1,000 for flowers and then, we could have paid somebody else $500. If it's reasonable, do you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I think
It's just something that,
So it's to your credit that you're discussing this, and because it's important, and in a small village, it comes up all the time. But I think what it should do is give you these sections, circulate them and then.
For so that's for the code of ethics. We're going to take a look at where the language for the code of ethics
Yeah, you
came
should really
from.
see the actual law.
Okay.
It's very
Yeah.
clear. So.
All right. So let's look at that because that might be a little
So
clearer.
page
Just
2,
about
which you,
that.
nobody has page 2, okay,
How
couple
about-
other things. Like some of the stuff doesn't really apply to us, like this talks about, the officer or employee has received campaign contributions, that doesn't apply to us. Again, in 15.5, just keeping the verbiage consistent with employees, professionals. I don't know, under gifts, like $75, if somebody over Christmas wanted to drop you off like a really beautiful poinsettia, I mean, that would be, I think 75 is a little low. I think we always did 100.
No, the statutory, it's actually $76.
Oh,
It's
so
the
that's,
law.
that's.
So it's the law. So I
Okay.
think we have to go back and look at this whole thing from the
Okay.
law that it's being derived from, if that's the case, because it's not specific to Poquat.
It's
It
not
says
at
It's the
all.
public officers law, New York State
No.
public officers law,
The
76.
revolving door doesn't apply to us, 1511, transactional disclosure, that needs to be reworded because we don't really have superiors. I mean, we've got Tina, but that's something totally different. Yeah. And then, as far as when all of this is done and making people sign it, which everybody should have to sign it 100%, disciplinary action for people that, we can ask them to resign as trustee, but. So those were my suggestions. I think the whole thing needs to be redone.
So can we
Based on mine.
can we take it from where? Can we take it whatever the law is that we have to and only adopt what's relevant to
Yes.
Poquat? So
Yes.
then I think that's where we should start.
I mean, I'd be happy to work on this if you want to send me the document.
All right. So then
Yeah, 'cause
so
I've
you're
done
gonna
these.
you're gonna get the law and make a Poquat version, a
Yes.
whole new Poquat version for us. I like it. All right. Code enforcement pay policy. Frank revised. You revised two sections, one section, and made it into two. Correct?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the chief before me had it in one, I'm not sure why it was one. But I changed it a little bit, it really didn't make much sense.
I don't know if I had time to circulate to that.
I don't.
But okay, so it's way better, the way Frank did it, and it works. I will circulate that around and we can look at it. It's just a question of then we would have to adopt two policies. That was my only question to you, was could we have it under one name or it needs to be under two?
I believe you could put it under one as long as you rename the policy. It's good because it's not just the pay policy, it was also
What's like
the
the,
HR part of it, the civil service part. And quite frankly, civil service part comes directly from Suffolk County Civil Service. They just, for some reason, made a policy for us. And the only part that we changed was the civil service policy for the chief's responsibilities. And the chief having the requirement that the chief be certified by the state as either code enforcement or a building safety inspector.
Okay. All right. So that I'm going to circulate that for everybody to read, and I'm good. That's the only thing. I would probably just make it into one policy instead of two, but I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? Is it better if it's two?
I think that's a joke. I don't really know if there's an issue there on that.
Okay.
I'm not sure why we had it.
It was two policies?
No, it was
No,
one.
they had it as one. They
Oh.
named it a pay policy, but they included job descriptions and hiring requirements. It
Right.
was under a pay policy, so I'm not sure why they did that.
So can we just call it code enforcement policy, like overall? Or Joe? Does it, if we talk about two different things in the policy, can we combine the policy? Frank,
Yes.
we can.
Yes.
All right, so we'll do that. I'll come up with language with Joe for just the name of it, and then I'm going to circulate it. Everybody could take a look, but it's really nicely done. So,
Yeah.
all right. the revisions to computer decommissioning policy. So Joe sent a draft. That was and the one that you sent is called Electronic Equipment and Information Technology Policy. That's the same. That's the rework of the one that was called the computer decommissioning.
Yes, what I suggested was, can I talk about this?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so,
They haven't seen it yet because we
Yeah,
just
so
got
here's-
it a little late,
it's okay,
but
so here's, I'm sorry, I apologize, but,
that's okay.
it took me a while to put it together. So what happened is, Tina, wherever it came from, Tina, the mayor, came up with some provisions for this decommissioning of equipment, which I think is important. And, that comes out of actually comes out of the finance law of the state of New York. And the reason is because it, is basically the governing provisions for all the computers that the finance department has in the state. So all these computers that are all over the state, finance, taxation, all those people, it tells what happens to those computers when they're done. But in working on that, I saw that we really need to revamp our electronic equipment and IT policy. So I had developed a policy based on the requirements of the Office of the New York State Comptroller, which has minimum standards that have to be in these policies. So what I recommend, I put this together, and I'm sorry it came in today.
That's okay.
It came in today, I'm sorry.
No, it's perfect.
But what I think that decommissioning is a really good idea to have some kind of policy for that. But I think it should be part of the electronic equipment policy. It's going to make it from a 5-page policy to or 6 to 9 or whatever. It's going to add a couple things to it. But what I circulated is the minimum that's necessary, and then I would make add on the some version of the decommissioning with it. The problem with the decommissioning is that it says things like used computers are going to go to the education department and things like that, because it was a policy that was drafted to be used statewide, but the ideas in the policy I think are very good.
So is this an idea? Is this food for thought, what you sent us, or is this the actual policy that you're suggesting for food
That's
thought?
food for thought.
Okay.
And I just want you to get a sense of what the minimum is, so that's the minimum. And then I can now add on the decommissioning language to that.
All right. So Jacqueline, you weren't here, so there was some discussion last time about what the minimum. But it was really came up with, everyone has. There's a lot of people who have information about the village, whether it's a planning board member or a trustee. Let's say they have that email, or they have emails on their phone. So now what's the game plan when you go to Apple to buy a new phone? Do you have to bring Joe Prokop with you to the Apple store to make sure, or actually it would be Frank would be going with us to the Apple store to watch it be, destroyed correctly and log it in. So I'm thinking something like that for this village would be an affidavit or something. Can we get away with something small time? Or how do we, small time, something, so that's kind of where we were, but then Joe looked at everything and he made it big time. So we're gonna go big and then go back to small, right? That's the plan? Yeah? Okay. All right. So this is for us to review, and then are you going to give us a POQUAT version of this? So should we review this and then circle back with any comments?
I'll have the decommissioning added on I'll try for like a week and a half.
Oh, okay. All right. So then let's wait until we have the whole thing, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, I think, yeah. It's just.
You can start reading that in the meantime.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the so it's not going to change. It's just you're just going to add another section. Oh, okay, so we can review that and we'll go over it next month. One thing though was part of the computer decommissioning from last week. There was the RAID language and whether we had a hard copy backup that Joe had recommended we should. Right.
So the RAID array, it's not antiquated software or anything. It's a way of It is a way of storing the same data in different places on multiple hard disks. And then like condensing it to like, so if you have 4, it condenses it to 2, so then if 2,
Die.
yeah, then you still have 2.
Mm.
Or instead of having a little bit on each different hard drive, it's
So
Axe understood and said
do
it's
we have
necessary.
one?
The Axe handles.
Oh, so we have a hard copy.
Well, we don't have hard backups.
But-
Like the, so I spoke with
They have
Axe, we're cloud-based, and then we have whatever we keep in our filing cabinet. So we do have,
Redundant, but do we have redundant digital backup?
that's the RAID array, the redundant array of independent disks is separate from the hard drive.
And that's what
backup.
you recommended we get?
Yes, I spoke to Axe, they said it wouldn't, it's not overkill to have it, that most people would have them do, you know, a hard external drive backup or whatever it is.
And what's
And I
the,
got the pricing for it, it's $469.99 installed. That includes them, you know, coming here, setting it all up and everything
I think we should do that.
Definitely,
Okay, all right.
no doubt about it.
So let's approve that. We're gonna have to add a
like
resolution.
that.
Oh, we'll do that at the end. Okay, local law edits, property maintenance. I want, it's here. Well, we took what we worked on months to pare down, and it's circulated. It's, I want, I think what we should do is, I haven't even had time to look at Joe's law language on it. So if it's okay with everybody, let's look at it, and then we will discuss. It's been put into law format, and then I think let's all take it home as homework, look at it, and then circle back to how our thoughts came out as law for the next meeting. Is that okay? Yeah, okay, so everybody should have a copy. Yeah, here's a copy. I have some. So
It's in our buckets.
it's in the packets, right?
Two of them.
Or it might not
Property
be.
maintenance, you have, we just printed them.
We just printed them, so
Yeah, we just have the speed limit.
Yeah, you have the ones.
Jeremy?
from public hearing.
John, you wanna look at it just
That's
for
property
the end of the
maintenance.
month before you leave? It'll be like your exit project.
Yeah. I'll look at it.
Okay. Okay, chapter 18313 resident district use and 46 building and construction. Let's go over building and construction first, because that one is important. That is the changes that we agreed to, the initial, the expiration, the initial application shall expire. What we were talking about with building fees, we had to adjust the law. So I'd like to look at this now so that we can make a decision and then put it in for a public hearing, because we have to change the law in order to change the fees. Correct, Joe?
Yes.
All right. What, is it just the section here, 4610 fees, the initial application, is that all that's changed from
In the law, yeah.
on this one in the law? So the language now reads, the initial application shall expire 1 year from date of issue. An extension of 3 months from the date of expiration may be obtained for a fee equal to 125, no.
We don't have it.
No, yeah, you do. Here,
I don't know.
I'm hoarding them. Hold on. Okay, sorry. All right, so, an extension of 3 months from the date of expiration may be obtained for a fee equal to 125% of the original fee. In the event that the work and all inspections are not completed and permit closes within the 90-day extension. So this is, I think this is wrong. I think we were gonna do an extension of 3 months from the date of expiration may be obtained for a fee. And I wanted to say, established, and I don't know what the right language is, but I wanted it to say obtained for a fee as established by the board. I don't
Yeah,
want
just say
it
by resolution of the board of trustees.
as established by
I'm
resolution.
sorry, I thought you agreed on an amount.
No, we didn't. It is, it's 500. Right now,
Okay.
that's what we're gonna put in the building, but I don't wanna make this, I wanna make this so that we don't have to change it. If in 2 years we make it 600, we don't have to revise the law if we don't state the amount in the law.
Okay.
So as established
Oh, right.
in,
By resolution.
by
of the Board of
resolution.
Trustees.
by resolution, as established by resolution by the Board of
Of the
Trustees,
Board of Trustees.
of the Board of Trustees, okay, of trustees, may be obtained for a fee as established by resolution of the Board of Trustees, and then you can get rid of the 125%. In the event that the work and all inspections are not completed and the permit closed within that 90-day extension, the owner or permit holder may on application obtain, in the event that the work and all inspections are not completed, permit closed within, I don't understand the permit closed.
That means if the work's done, then you get a C of O. The C of O.
Within the 90, the owner or permit holder may on application obtain a renewal. Why would they need to obtain a renewal if it
I thought I
closed?
said if it's not closed.
In the event that the work and all inspections are not completed and the permit closed within 90-day, right, got it. The owner or the permit holder may obtain on application obtain a renewal of 1 year commencing from the date of the expiration of the original permit for a fee of, and that's going to be for a fee. I want it to be 125%, but can we also say as established by resolution so that it becomes changeable? Or should that one say 125%?
If it's
that one's
gonna
not
be a fixed
125.
amount, if it's gonna be a fixed amount, you can say by resolution, but if it's gonna be a percentage, then it should just be the percentage.
Okay, it's 125.
Or you know what, you could do that.
No, for the second permit, it's not 125. It was,
Was there a 1 year renewal was 125%?
Yeah.
Yeah.
is that what we?
Yeah.
What did you come?
Hang on,
What Jeremy?
hang on.
I mean, we went back and forth on this, on
I
the
got
scaling, we did this, because originally you said 250, not 500.
No, the
But
first,
your original
the
proposal
3-month
jumped to
extension, this is
500.
where we landed, as far as I know. The 3-month extension was gonna be a flat fee of 500,
Yeah.
okay? And then,
125%.
and then a new 1 year renewal at 125% of the original permit fee. That's where we agree, yes?
Okay.
Jess, is that what the minutes say?
Mhm.
Okay, so do we need to say for a fee of 125%? Or can we make it as established by resolution? I mean, if
Or you could say 125% or such other amount as may be established by resolution of the Board of Trustees.
125% or such
Such other amount as may be established,
other amount, wait, hold on,
as may be established, and it should say from time to time.
may be
May be
established
established by the
From-
Board of Trustees.
from time to time,
Yeah,
as,
from time to time.
where do I stick from time to time?
As
As-
may be established from time to time
From time to time,
by the Board of Trustees.
may be established
From
by
time-
resolution from time to time?
Yeah.
By resolution from time to time
You sound like an attorney.
of the Board of
Sorry.
Trustees, yeah, I would like to play on the
Yeah,
TV.
it would say from time to time should really come after established.
Okay, 125, for a fee of 125% or such other amount as may be established from time to time by resolution of the Board of Trustees.
That's right.
Okay,
My question is though, it has to be consistent for everyone across the board, right? Like, you can't have the Board of Trustees saying, well, in this particular case, we're just gonna go with.
Classes, not individuals, but classes of cases, like
Like new builds.
you can structure.
Decks could be one, new builds could be another.
You can't say, 51 Washington is gonna be 120, 200%, and someone else is 50%.
Yeah, that's my only
Yeah.
concern.
no, it's, I mean, there was a a law that preceded it with dollar amounts, right?
Yeah.
But then now we've just ran into the situation where we decided to change 2 fees, and now we have to rewrite the whole law. So I think if the board does it in a resolution, then the law follows whatever whatever the current
Right.
resolution is,
Yeah, no,
right?
better strategy.
Right? Okay,
then
so
rewrite law.
Right.
yeah, and then the amount of the original.
Oh, so we can change the 125%
Yes.
without having to,
Rewrite the
Exactly.
it's
law
not on a case-by-case basis. That
Oh,
we
you
can
were
vote.
thinking from time to time was like
Tomorrow.
from
I'm
from
thinking of my
she
code of ethics.
she's
Ethics that I'm gonna be writing.
she's thinking from time to time I'm gonna be like, nah, this time it's gonna be that right now.
Maybe a little
That means
nervous.
you can do it more than once. You can change it more than once.
Okay. The amount of the original permit, the permit amount on extension or renewal may be adjusted based on changes in scope of the work. I don't know. After the commencement of the permit work. I think I would remove that. I think I would just say, I mean, the permit amount on the extension or renewal may be adjusted based on changes in the scope of work. Are you saying that like because they have a permit for a deck and now they're going to put a extension on their house?
Yeah, like say they file a permit for a 20 by 20 foot deck, and then they go out to contract it, and they find out that it's $50,000, and they thought it's going to be 20,000. But I guess that would be a different project. So that's
It
probably
would be
not this-
different.
yeah,
It would be a different project, right?
Yeah.
So I think we could
But
strike.
hold on, before
Okay.
you strike that, does it hurt to strike it? Because it says, so this says based on the changes in the scope of work. So if your scope of work left is down to the electrical, do you need a permit for it to redo your entire permit?
I hate
Yeah,
this.
it'd be closing out. It would be
But
just
you
the
have-
last part of closing out the permit.
So this would apply then, right? To
Yeah.
your scope. So if you file a permit, a build permit, right, for new construction, and you reach your 1 year and you're refiling, and all you have left to do is your electrical, you're going to pay the entire amount for the new build project, or you're just going to pay for your electrical?
Well, but if we have this in, it defeats the whole purpose of having a $500 extension and the 1 year extension.
But I guess I'm just saying, if you got a $10,000 permit
Well, I think that
rebuild
build-
a house, and you miss your 1 year and your 3 months.
You've missed your
right?
3 months,
So you missed
right?
your 3 months.
And all you have to do is your electrical. I think
Yeah.
you would petition the building department to
Right.
But I
to
think
give
this
you a
language-
courtesy, right?
But this language allows you to adjust
Can't.
it, right? This
That's
language
what
then
I'm,
allows you
that
to
was my
say,
point.
well, you can reapply at 125% of the electrical portion of it, rather than pulling
Again,
another $10,000 permit.
Again, because we were trying to eliminate like what's going on down the block. You got 3 houses that are going on years 3, 4, and 5. So just like
Again, I guess my point is it
But anybody-
hurtful to leave the language in, because it just gives us flexibility, right? Instead of having to like rewrite law again. If we decide that in a year from now that this is an issue, like then we can address this instead of having to like rewrite law.
The language that I had was really for change in project, not the scope, the change in the scope of a project, not the,
The phase
what's
of
left
the
what's left of
project.
the project.
Right. So I
Yeah.
think you're not going to have a change in scope of the project because you would have to get another permit to
Right.
get. So I think that I think that if you're at the end of your project, I think that if you're at the end of your project, you had a year, and now you're looking at 3 months, and all you have is electrical, you're going to hustle and get your electrical done. And then if you don't, well, now you kind of really overshot, and you have to get another permit. I mean, we took it down from 200% to 125%. It's a renewal. I mean, Brookhaven makes you renew, right? Doesn't Brookhaven just makes you renew? You miss your window,
the
and
entire permit
Yes.
amount, regardless of what portion of the
Mhm.
fees you have
Yeah.
remaining, even if you've closed out, because you can get your closeout. I mean, you have to have a whole CO, or they'll make you renew all your permit fees.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
for the scope, for the work, for what the project is. I think we can get rid of this line though. All right, I think that is scope of work, and the scope of work changes. It has to be, another permit has to be entertained. Permit and fees, permit and fee is as per the current schedule of fees as adopted by the Board of Trustees. Okay, yeah,
That
that's,
language might be in there, that might be already in your
well,
code, because I don't remember writing.
in the event that, no, but I think you're saying the permit, this is the extensions. These two are saying, I mean, if you wanted, you could take permit and fees as per, that should probably go first. The initial application shall expire 1 year from the date. That should probably be the first thing. Permit and fee is as per the current schedule of fees as adopted by the Board of Trustees. And then it moves on to the initial application shall expire. I think that should be the leading sentence, right? And then everything else follows suit, because then we start talking about renewals. Does that make sense? Yeah? Yes? It's okay. All right. So can we, since we just went over it and rewrote it, can we still put in for a public hearing based on what we just rewrote
Yes.
together? Okay, so we'll do that for next time. And nothing else changed. That was the only section that was edited.
Didn't I add $25 for, pot storage?
No, because that wasn't on this to begin with.
Okay.
I don't, oh yeah, for each storage container placed on property initially set at 25 per, see, but we don't have anything else in there.
Okay, so you can just strike that, we won't do it.
I don't think we should do it. I think all the other fees, this is the tricky one. The renewal was the one that was written into a law, and I want it to be written in, but in a way that can be edited. I think the pods should just be part of the fees, right?
Yes.
All right, so get rid of that.
Okay.
Okay, yeah? Okay, all right, so who wants my scribble? All right, so that one is done.
Can we just go back 30 seconds for this property maintenance? I just want to make sure this amendment,
Yeah.
the 6 things we talked about, right? So it's, the tents and the pop-up tents and
Right,
all that, the boats and all of that.
yeah,
Those were things that Dee and I originally felt were missing out of the original property maintenance. So this is an addition. It's not an amendment. I just want to be clear. We don't want to get rid of the other property maintenance. We just want to add this to it.
I think an amendment,
You're
I
amending-
think you're amending the law by adding things to it.
So agree, but when I read it, so amendment of section 120-2, are we saying 120-2 exists and then this is an addition to it, or this
Yes.
is replacing, this is the amendment of 120.2?
It's
It's a fine line what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's amending by, it's amending one section and it's creating other sections. So there is one section that's being amended.
The property maintenance, this is not gonna be the whole property maintenance law, if that's what you're asking. Are we throwing everything out and just starting
Yeah,
with
let me make sure
just a
this is just
pop-up
an
tent
addition
and
to
that's
it.
it?
Right,
No,
this is the addition
this
to,
is
and we're not getting rid of what was written in the other.
No, we're adding and changing what you started out with
Right.
when you did it. This, correct, Joe?
Yes.
This is adding and changing. He's
Okay.
giving us the shorthand. The whole law will be longer than this. This is what's being added and changed, and then it gets incorporated into the whole
Right, the
law.
rest of the chapter stays. the
Yeah,
same.
so,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. That's, I just want to clarify, thanks.
Did you think we deleted everything?
Just when I read it, it's like, because it says amendment of section 120-2, and I just want to make sure the existing stays, and this is, because amendment is different than addition. I just want to make sure we're really doing an addition, even though it says amendment.
Well, one section's being amended, one of the a subsection, and
Yeah.
then we're adding 4 other subsections.
Okay.
We're adding.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so now we're on to 46. Oh, no, we just did that one. 183.
183, I'm still working on it.
Are you still working on
I have
183?
183,
That's the resident district use. Still
I
with
was
you.
looking for other examples and I haven't. found something I'm happy with.
Okay, no problem. All right, we did that. Property maintenance is homework. Building and construction, we just did.
Can we do the benches?
Nope, that's coming up. Open items, that came in today. It's not on the agenda, so it's gonna be my last. Open items for the board to review from the village attorney.
We got, I think you're probably aware of this, but I'll just mention publicly, we received a check from, the owner of 389 Main Street for $7,818. The judgment amount that we got in court was $7,500, and there was $318 of interest that was added on. I went to a closing and sat there for 2 hours waiting for the money. We finally got the money. It just happened we had court the following day, and I gave the check to Leslie, the court clerk, and she deposited it. And we should be getting the distribution from the court.
Nice,
Awesome, finally.
that's great.
Good.
That's
And
terrific job.
I think that there's a little bit of cleanup to do with that because you authorized me to start an action to collect the money, which I did do. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of legal work to unwind that now.
Okay.
But other than that, that part's all over. And I don't have anything else to discuss. I did find on a website today a project that they were going to use part of the harbor right outside the village for the staging of a ship that's going to bring supplies and crew to.
Oh, you're behind the times. Jeremy and I went to the meeting already. And yeah, you want to see? I'll show you the pictures afterwards. They are. We have all the information.
Okay, so my only comment about that, which I feel strongly about, is that the route for that to get the supplies and the personnel, all the supplies that are going to go to that boat to go out and build these platforms and everything are going to go on Bellmead Road and North Hollow Road to get to, which I think is, I know that those areas are outside the village of Polk. I understand that. I'm just using this as a forum to, if you don't mind. Bellmead Road was built as a road so that trucks did not have to enter the residential areas of Setauket. Because what happened when that refinery there, when that storage facility there was really booming, which it was for decades, all the trucks would leave the storage area, the oil trucks, and come down through this area and then head out to Wading River, Smithtown, wherever they're going. And so they built Bellmead Road so that they could go up to the highway. And what this plan for that ship proposes, and I wish I had known this, I would have gone to the meeting, is to now bring every truck that has personnel and supplies on it is going to come down through the residential area on North Hollow Road.
So they told us though at the meeting, and you can double check.
Yeah.
They told us that personnel would be in one. It would be in a passenger van, and that all material would be carried in nothing larger than a Sprinter,
Then like a box truck.
or not a box truck, like a Sprinter van.
Okay.
No, the Sprinter van was going to be the personnel, and the box truck was going to be the people, and it's supposed to be happening
Twice
twice a month. So they did a traffic study, and they found that there would be no impact on traffic. And my only comment was that I wanted them to make sure that they reached out to the Three Village Trust because of the Steve Matthews Preserve, which they did reach out to them because I followed up about that. But I mean,
Well, when I lived on the water in Miller Place, when they built the right next to in the area of Cedar Beach, when they put in the cable, the cross-sound cable or whatever it is that goes across the sound, or it goes out. Anyway, there's a major cable that they installed, and they in the sound they had a boat similar to this, similar size, that was parked about 2 or 3 miles off the beach for 2 or 3 years, and you could hear it. And from my house, you could hear every single conversation on the boat. You could hear what radio station they were listening to, whatever was going on, you could hear it. So just have that concern.
So to answer some of those questions. So what we've been told and through the presentation, correct me if I'm wrong, is that there would be, that they wouldn't be staying on the boat and the engines would be off when it's docked,
Yeah,
correct?
that
That
it
everything
would
would be
be,
shut down and they'd be brought in and back,
it's supposed to be just a pickup, drop off, and
and nothing will be running during the time that it's sitting there.
It says that it's going to be used as the living quarters for the boat.
when it's
out,
when it's out,
sea.
it's gonna come pick up.
can be out for 2 weeks to multiple
two
weeks
mo-
at a
two-
time.
Yeah, it could be up to, they could be out for months.
There's 4 stations it services out around the coast, and they'll be making trips to different stations and living on. So it'll be a little board essentially while it's out at sea, and then once they're returned here, they'll be deboarding and then brought either back to the drop-off point or dispersed from there.
Okay.
But it won't be a living quarters while it's docked, is what we were told, or running during the time that it's, other than departure and arrival. Is what we were told at the presentation. So how does that? There's also three temporary offices being installed.
Yeah, down.
on the shoreline where there's foliage right now, correct?
Yeah, they're gonna take down the foliage and put
Three
3
temporary storage
offices.
offices.
Actually, no, I think they're putting the foliage after to
To
camouflage
keep
it,
hidden,
right?
So it's gonna be back behind the foliage.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a working office and then storage for the parts that are coming in that are gonna go onto the boat.
And it's a 7-year lease?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So I just, I'm sure you have, this wasn't your intention to talk about this at this meeting. But
That's okay.
I just think if the powers to be in Brookhaven, I mean, this is one project, but if somebody looked at this and didn't realize that basically it's a backwards use of what
The original
Belmont
intention
Road
was.
was built to take commercial traffic. I mean, I've seen many traffic studies on everything, Route 58, the computer associates said, everything you can say. No traffic study I ever saw said that there was going to be an increase in traffic.
I know.
And so it's just a concern that if the people in Brookhaven that are supposed to be protecting us thought that this was fine.
Well, I
what the
think
next thing-
the other thing is, I mean, the other consideration though, on the flip side of that, is where else is there a deep water harbor around here that can accommodate that ship?
No,
I mean, we are kind of, I mean, the only other place to go, I don't even know if there's a deep water harbor like this in Connecticut nearby. I mean, there's nowhere to go. There's no place on the South Shore or the North Shore. I think that, I mean,
Are you saying that you think there's a different route that they should be taking to
Yeah,
transport materials?
exactly. Yes, exactly. So, no, I'm not questioning Port Jefferson Harbor. I think it's a great.
right,
use
but
of-
they how are they gonna, I mean, I think that their argument was that they are impacting it the least amount possible by not creating the storage facility and the what's it called, the staging area, by not doing that at Nat Grid and doing it at Belmead instead, right? That's their argument, is we're going to do everything there. So with the traffic of the people coming to work and the boxes and everything getting loaded up will all happen there, and it'll be very streamlined when it comes down the road. So instead of 20 cars with employees, it's going to be one van.
I think what Joe's saying is not disagreeing with that. He's just saying that it shouldn't be down Belmead, but there should be an alternate route that they're taking to get there.
Oh, you're saying
Bel-
Belmead's the issue?
Belmead has access to several commercial roads, state highways and county highways that all go to Port Jefferson Harbor. Belmead was designed to take commercial traffic away from Setauket, not to bring it into Setauket.
So how would they be, you're saying they'd go out to 347 and go down 112?
Or
Oh.
Nichols Road.
Didn't even.
So
Didn't-
Nichols is interesting though, because then you're adding traffic on Main Street, right? And they're coming across through Main Street.
No, but
right?
like down 112 would have been more a
112
direct route, and
would be
it
a
would have,
direct route
yeah.
It's a-
through the
Didn't
town.
Didn't even, good point. I didn't even think about the fact of them going down. I was a little bit more focused on the fact that it was
on the,
being done, that it wasn't gonna
on the
impact as
relation to our
much.
space
Yeah.
and traffic in front of our direct area.
Yep,
Yeah, we're concerned that there would be maybe traffic lights or something put out at that entrance
When
there.
did- when did
and
we
affect
go there?
traffic. I
it
don't know.
was over a month ago,
Yeah, I think it was October 15th,
yeah.
somewhere around there, sound right?
People
October
don't realize
4th,
that
maybe?
When, does that have a date on it,
Oh,
Joe?
yeah.
I think it's 25,
They're gonna do it on the 25th?
no, in 2025,
2025.
No, I'm saying, is there a date on that presentation?
September 14th.
Oh, okay. So a
At
month
6
ago.
p.m. So,
A month and a half ago.
that's my comment about this, but I think that, we will see the traffic because the traffic will be coming down 25A. It's gonna come down North Hollow and then come down, and we have residents trying to get in and out of, Washington and, Van Buren Manor. My concern, like I just said, I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry, but thank you for letting me talk about this. It's just that if nobody at the town caught on to this, that this is like totally messed up, that, a road that millions of dollars were spent on to take traffic away from Setauket is now going to be the gateway to Setauket.
So do you think that there's something that we should do, that the village should do in relation to this? To,
Can we reach out to Fort Jefferson and see when their next hearing? Don't they have another hearing on the docket?
I think that they probably already did.
Well, it's probably coming up. This is probably the corporate discussion. Was a community update.
So I'm gonna, I'll reach out to Port Jeff and see when their next discussion's gonna be on it. If there's another one scheduled, and we'll go with it.
I would go.
So
Okay.
can I ask you a question? Would you mind if I spoke on this as an individual, not expressing an opinion on behalf of Brookline?
You mean go down there with us, but pretend you don't know us?
No,
and-
believe me, by the time I get done, it'll be the other way around.
Yeah, I think,
'Cause,
you brought up a valid point. I think we should go throw it out there, and then you can go crazy, and we'll pretend we don't know you.
Just one
Or
more
we'll
point.
say that's our
So
guy.
So,
When you-
either way, however it plays out.
when I drive, when I have a daytime meeting in the city for something, or something in the city or anything like that, when you drive out from the city now, it's an hour to get to Smithtown,
It is.
and then it's an hour from Smithtown to Setauket.
Definitely
because
is.
Everything is screwed up. She passed through all these roads that are going to be accessed by these trucks that are messed up.
I definitely agree with that. You have that already?
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
so
you
I'll
for-
find out, Joe. I'll let you know when it is, and we can go in separate cars.
I'll wear a t-shirt that says not Coke water.
Okay. All right.
Coke Pop, not-
Two other things that kind of came up a little bit late. I just wanted to see. I've been speaking to. I called the firehouse and have been coordinating with the paving company that's going to do a study, and I am aiming at hopefully doing the info session for the residents. It won't be a board meeting. It'll just be a talk presentation, community update on the roads. And I'm looking at maybe the 16th or the 23rd of January. I think they're both Tuesdays. And I just check your calendars and let me know in the next couple of days if you're available. Because I would like to have as much of the board there. I think it's important. I think this one's a big one that we should all be there for. So see if either one of those days works or doesn't, and let me know, and I'll put out a message to Darlene and Ray, since you'll be long gone by that time. Maybe you'll come back just for fun.
Come back.
All right, and then the other thing is I got a email. I sent a copy from Deirdre Cronin. I'm going to read it. The PCA is requesting board approval for a community bench donation project that has received positive feedback and interest by the community we gauged over the last few months. We would like to replace 6 of 8 existing older benches and add 1 new bench at our parks and beaches. Residents who sponsored the donation will have the opportunity to name the benches with a pre-approved plaque, photos attached. While residents will be made aware that their donation will become village property, we are requesting that sponsorship plaques remain on the benches for the lifetime of each bench. PCA also requests that the Village Board of Trustees cover the handyman costs of assembly. Benches will be ordered in February and installed in spring 2024. And the plan is replace 6 existing benches at California. Opportunity for 1 new bench. Trustees Park replace 2 existing benches. No sponsors identified. Future opportunity for 3 new benches. And Van Brunt Manor add 1 new bench. Walnut Beach relocate PCA bench to Trustees Park. Repaint and leave existing bench in current location that's named for Nietzschman family. Thank you for your consideration. And then she has a little drawing sketch of where they should go, which I looked at, and it seems like kind of they're replacing everything. There's 1 new bench at Trustees. Looks like 1 possibly. Oh no, there's existing. Replace existing. It looks like 1 new one for California, and then Walnut 1 new. So I'm seeing new benches. I mean, aesthetically, it looks like they're kind of replacing the ones that are there. So I don't have any objection to the way that they look now. And I think that if we can get some new benches, yay. Because I really like the ones that the PCA put together.
Yeah.
After the plunge. They looked really good.
Yeah.
Sturdy, and I think that would really be nice. So I'm down with this.
No objection.
Yeah, I don't see any negatives to it.
I think we should see the plaques.
Yep.
I think the plaques should be approved by the board. In case I don't want to see somebody writing something really terrible and offensive.
Sure.
So what the plaques say should get board approval before they get ordered. And I would be okay with handing off our handyman to help assemble them. The PCA did all of the stuff, even the village's stuff last time around. We didn't pay our dues when we ordered our new stuff the last time. PCA volunteers did everything. So I would give them our handyman for a day. And
What about removing the old benches?
The village will have to pay to have them removed. Those
are concrete and wood, right?
Yeah, well, the wood can be broken down, but the concrete would probably have to have a company haul it. Yeah,
Pile them together and do it one time.
Yeah.
We need new benches.
We definitely need new benches. And I think it would be nice if they were a consistent look. So, I'm okay with this. Yeah.
We could do a community event, and James and Christina always help out with doing stuff.
And make them throw a bunch of cement in their truck. Well, if they want to do that, that would be great. But I think we should assume that the handyman, and that we would have to clear the other benches. So whatever that, we could find out what that cost is, and see how expensive it is. I can't imagine it's that crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So wait a minute. That's it. Not bad.
Not bad. 7:37. We haven't had a meeting yet.
We have a resolution adopting the LGS retention schedule. We need one rescinding anyone because LGS supersedes basically the state archives.
What's
The
the
retention
plan
and
we have now?
disposition, right now we have the MU1.
Okay.
But then LGS came into effect in 2021.
Okay.
So we're gonna add a resolution adopting LGS today. We don't need to rescind MU1, right, in the resolution? Because
what's
it
the resolution?
supersedes.
Which number?
It's 14,
Probably
because I
the
put
last
about
one.
which we have to, when you guys read through, just check the numbers.
Oh, I probably copy pasted,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, like
14 twice. Okay,
I have the,
15.
It should say replacing, what is it?
MU1.
But that's what you want to do, then it should say, you can just add on the end,
Replacing.
replacing, MU1 as the
Okay.
policy.
Where did I do that? Article
Right above the
57.
voucher
Oh,
report.
to replace,
Replacing MU1 as the policy,
Okay.
as the village policy. Replacing MU1 as the village policy.
okay.
Joe, there were two other quick things that we discussed briefly before you got here that we wanted your take on too. One doesn't have to be right now when we talk about Halloween protocols and like discussing just not putting any verbiage in for recommendations for the lights for, for next year. That's something we can talk about later, as we move on. But the other one was a resident brought up a concern about removal of the ruins from
Right.
from the waterfront at California. And then the option was brought up about putting signage up there, some kind of.
Be careful of debris on the beach.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just wanted to see if we have any kind of like general requirements or exposure as a village where we would need to put something up in general for that area or for the beach in general or for that specific area.
Water is wet, rocks are slippery.
Yeah. A resident felt, so we're
Yeah.
part of the old
So I would
document.
probably vote to put up some kind of warning.
Some kind of sign, but like, is it sufficient to have something like, I'm thinking where you walk down from California to the beach,
Like the
there's like a
dock.
little walkway there, or at the dock. I mean, because if we put it in the sand, it's not going to hold, and it's also you're addressing people have high tide. You put it in the high tide area, like you're actually putting it on somebody's property because they own it until the high tide water line, right? So
Don't we own it?
we own it in the low tide. They own it to the residents own it to the high tide water line.
So is this area right in front of the parking lot, is that what you're talking about, or is it? part
It's
of
to
the-
the left.
Just
It's
to the left
to
of
the
the
left
parking
of the
lot.
dock
You can see it from the
So
dock.
you could put the sign on village property and just,
at the park.
that's what I would do.
I think we should do it on the area where you start to
So when you
walk
go out to
down.
the dock, there's rules and regulations or guidelines, whatever you want. We could add it on there, or we could put a separate sign. Be careful to
No,
not
I would
slip
put
on
a
the
separate
beach.
sign, yeah,
Separate, right?
yes.
Let's do a separate sign by where you walk
Specific,
down.
like beware of ruins, or just be careful, don't slip on the slippery rocks of the
We'll come up
beach.
with some language.
Just something
Well,
that-
Beware.
Okay, all right, we'll beware of that. Okay, so
And
That's-
that's sufficient to not removing them, right? That was our discussion.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like a pretty expensive endeavor.
it's
but
gonna
we
be
can't
crazy
have
to
that.
remove them, and it's a
Like,
deep.
not,
Yes.
it's not that sign would cover us.
I
basically.
I think it's okay if it's not usable to remove them.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, so that I am calling the work session, adjourning the work session 7:41 p.m. Anybody have to take a break, or shall we move on?
Move on.
Let's go, all right, so calling the meeting, the board meeting business, what am I saying? Yeah, business session? To order, yeah, the board, calling something to order at
7:41.
7:41. All right, pledge. Go ahead, John, read it for the last time.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, announcements. The community dock has been closed for the season. Pier will remain open during winter months. Items in boat racks need to be removed by no later than December 1st. Community garden plots should be cleared out by December 15th, and residents wishing to renew their plots for next season should advise Village Hall before January 1st. Okay, reports. Frank, public safety.
Not much to report, as we said earlier, Halloween night was quiet, 2 officers were on patrol as per our Halloween plan. There were no complaints received by public safety of any disturbances or damages. Quiet in the last month. We've only had 5 incident reports in the last 4 weeks. Nothing important, hanging wires, a reckless driver, a disturbance involving a minor child, fire department response, and a building code violation. Parking violations addressed were 5. We had 10 special event parking applications, conducted 2 courtesy house checks, and right now things are quiet.
Good, nice.
Great.
Treasurer's report, Ron? I think you're muted. We can't hear you.
Okay, so.
Oh, now we can. Yay. Okay, now we got you.
Okay, I just unmuted, so I'm gonna kind of shut off the phone, I think.
Can
'Cause
you?
I hear you're getting a reverb here.
Yeah, can you turn your phone part
Yeah, I'm
off?
shutting off the phone.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Can you hear me all right now?
Yep, perfect.
I
Yep.
can't hear you now. Okay, anyway, can you hear me? Nod your head.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Very, very quickly. There are a number of up and down items in the expenditures through the state. It's still early in the year, but the main differences are timing differences. And one of them, in the cumulative, they are probably going to mean that at the end of the year, we're going to have to make an additional budget transfer out of reserve funds of about 20 to 30,000. That may sound frightening, but we already made an adjustment to increase the reserves by about 30,000 as a result of adjusting the beginning balance. So it's a trade-off. At least that's the way it's looking right now, and everything else is more or less leveling out in the budget. So there's really nothing to get too concerned about. And again, it's early in the year, so as long as the winter holds out within budget, we should be okay. I've spoken with, or not spoken, but I've been emailed back and forth with the auditors, and they've been waiting for a couple of clarifications that Natalie is providing, a handful of them, today, I believe, or tomorrow at the latest. And there might be one more issue, but I'm expecting that they're going to be able to provide us with the audit results for the next meeting. I'll know a little bit better if I talk to the auditors, or Chris, who's the manager, I believe. By the end of the week, I'll have a better idea, and I'll give Tina a call and let you know about what's happening.
Okay, you can't hear me?
That's all I have, and since I can't hear you, I'm not sure what to say, except I can sign in again on the phone.
Oh, it's okay.
And see if you have anything that you wanted to say.
Shake your head no.
No, that isn't going to work because I have to.
Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash.
I'm going to forget that. That'll take too long.
Okay.
That's about it. And if anybody has any questions, normally I haven't received any questions from you guys, so not being able to hear you right now. Can you try talking to me again if you have? Okay, I got you now.
Oh, okay. Great. So the question is, I'm echoing. How far behind are we on the audit as far as when it was due versus when we'll actually be handing it in?
Behind is more like, when we would have liked to have gotten it on in our hands. It's difficult to say because the first year of an audit, you have to get to a point where you have a comfort level as an auditor with beginning balances and not just ending balances. And so that's been a part of the stickiness of what's been going on. There's been a lot of back and forth. Also, the actual auditors who are on site, who came on site, have been, it's now at the manager level, and that's their work is being reviewed. And there were some things that the manager wanted copies of that they didn't take copies of when they were in our offices. And so Natalie's having to gather that and get that to them, which she's doing now, and she has been doing. And that's the main problem. So we should be, in next year's audit, I would anticipate it's going to go very smoothly because they will have all the benchmarks for the beginning balance to proceed very smoothly. And they will also have an experience of knowing how things function with the village, having seen it and developed the work papers. And they won't be doing a lot of things that establishing a permanent file for a number of the contracts that go from more than 1 year. Those are all kinds of things that in the first year create delays in the workflow. I think also, you know, on our end of it, you know, we probably had to make more adjustments to beginning balances than I would have anticipated because of, in the past, some of this work has been done by Cullen and Danowski, which frankly, it's not the purest form of doing an audit. The village is supposed to have numbers that are presented to the auditors, and the auditors audit them. They're not supposed to be doing adjustments, which is part of what they had to do with the beginning balances. And that's, you know, some of that I take blame for that because, frankly, it surprised me. I thought that some of the beginning balances, or excuse me, the audit adjustments for last year were being reversed, and they were not being reversed. And so things like, you know, the judicial court grant, $30,000, should have been that was in there as a liability that we had to do, but we had done it. We did it this year, and it should have been reversed. So there were, you know, a handful of things like that. That was the biggest item, and that was part of what's resulted in our not having to be too concerned about timing differences, because that was probably the biggest timing difference we had in expenditures this year.
All right. I mean, I do want to just for the record say that I understand that it's a first time and there is a, you know, little bit of a learning curve because it's a new auditor, but I've noticed that the team at Village Hall, which is the clerks and Natalie as the bookkeeper, they've really gone above and beyond to get the auditor all of their documents, and they've been asked to get their documents multiple times, same documents, which I think has been creating a bottleneck that was unnecessary, regardless of whether it's the first time or the second time. And I think that on the auditor's side going forward, if there's a manager in charge, the manager should be getting the documents from the people who come to collect them, not from our team. It shouldn't. I feel that there was a lot of people involved in this, and our team actually spent a lot of time doing duplicate the work, and it's a little bit of a concern. But let's see how we go forward with the rest of it.
Yes, I did hear that from Natalie, and it sounded to me like what
And,
was happening was the auditors who came on site were not copying some of the documents that were required for what would be a permanent file, uh, which is, you know, the contracts and
uh-huh,
mainly contracts that extend over a year. And so those have to be kept by the auditors in a permanent file. And I have a feeling that they weren't copying those and
mhm.
bringing them back. And that when the manager was looking for those, he had to get those again, as opposed to just having them in hand for the initial auditors.
All
But
right, well,
I say
let's get
that
to the
without
end of
knowing.
it and see where we're at. We'll get to the end of it and see where we are, and hopefully everything will turn up roses.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's it. We're good. I think we're perfectly good. Everybody, anyone have any questions for Ron? Everything okay?
Nope, thank you.
Yeah, we're good,
Thank you,
Ron.
Ron.
Thank you.
All right, then, if you don't mind, I will be signing out, and I'll be seeing you next month, in anticipation that we are going to have the audit in hand.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Okay. Next. Court report.
Yeah, so actually, I just got the court report from Leslie tonight. 0 cases were opened in October, 3 cases were closed. But the number for what we're netting for the month of October is very high. We took in $7,918.
Yes, they did.
Not mentioning names or anything on the report, but, and it's for like 2 fines that are the identical amount of money.
Right, 2 times 3,750, that's right. Because the 7,500 that I mentioned before was a total of 2 fines for 3,750.
These are parking, no.
It's jaywalking. Somebody crossed the
Code
street.
violations, okay. It's so unusual to see a number that high on the court report, okay. So now the total to date is $10,393.08.
Nice. Good.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Okay.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Public hearings. We will do the first one. Local law of 2023 amending section 113-10 exemptions of chapter 113 peddling, soliciting, and hawking. Okay. Wait, do I have to open the public hearing? Motion to open the public hearing on local law of 2023 amending section 113-10 exemptions of chapter 113 peddling, soliciting, and hawking.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody have any comments? We can open up, I'll unmute the callers. We have 1 caller and 1 member in the audience. How do we unmute this? The caller, you're muted, so if you want to speak, I think you need to unmute yourself. Okay. Anyone in the audience? No? Okay. Motion to close public hearing. Do I read it all over again another time? Yeah?
Just motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion to open another public hearing for local law of 2023, amending section 169-2, speed limit of chapter 169, vehicle and traffic.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. And there's 1 caller on the line and 1 person in the audience. Does anyone have any feedback that they'd like to share with the board? Going once, twice. Okay, so motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now do I resume? Do I resume or do I just keep going?
Just keep going.
Okay. Public comments.
General.
Oh, wait, do I have to do something now? Back it up?
No, you're okay. You can just keep going.
Okay, public comments. Caller or member of the audience. Okay, no public comments. All right, we are on to resolutions. We ready?
Sure.
Resolution number 11-2023-1, resolution adopting November 6, 2023 agenda as printed. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 11-2023-2, resolution accepting the monthly reports from November 6, 2023. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 11-2023-3, resolution adopting the minutes from the October 12th, 2023 work session of the Board of Trustees meeting. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 11-2023-4, resolutions adopting the minutes from the October 12th, 2023 business session of the Board of Trustees meeting. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 11-2023-5, resolution to appoint Jacqueline Taylor as deputy mayor effective December 1st, 2023. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You had to recuse yourself.
Resolution 11-2023-06, resolution to appoint Raymond Graham as trustee to complete the term of John Musiello effective December 1st, 2023 through 2024 election.
Is he allowed to read that one? Since
Yes.
it's his replacement?
I'm not voting.
So
I can.
moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Resolution 11-2023-07, resolution adopting lead agency status for purposes of SECRA, State Environment Quality Review Act, with regard to Village Code amending Section 113-10, exemptions of Chapter 113, peddling, soliciting, and hawking, and determining that the adoption of the local law is an unlisted action for purposes of SECRA, that the adoption of the local law will not have a negative impact on the environment, and adopting a negative declaration. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 11-2023-8, resolution to adopt local law of 2023, amending section 113-10, exemptions of chapter 113, peddling, soliciting, and hawking of Poquat Village Code. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 11-2023-9, resolution adopting lead agency status for purpose of SECRA, State Environmental Quality Review Act, with regard to the Village Code amending Section 169-2, speed limit of Chapter 169, vehicles and traffic of Poquat Village Code, and determining that the adoption of the local law is an unlisted action for purpose of SECRA, that the adoption of the local law will not have a negative impact on the environment, and adopting a negative declaration. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 11-2023-10, resolution to adopt local law of 2023, amending section 169-2, speed limit of chapter 169, vehicles and traffic of Poquat Village Code. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 11-2023-11, resolution setting up a public hearing at the December 4th, 2023 meeting for a proposed local law amending section 46-10, fees of chapter 46, building and construction. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That was my all in favor, by the way, but the next one we need to table.
That's right.
Resolution number 11-2023-12. We're going to table that one because we need to discuss that. That we did not do. Can I just say table?
Yes.
Table, so moved?
I don't think you need to do it.
Oh, I
Just
don't?
push it.
Do I
Yeah,
have
the
to,
most- I would
You gotta
do
vote
just
on
the formality, just to vote the table, sure.
can we table it? So moved,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Don't steal my all in favors, Jeremy.
Sorry.
Okay.
So the next one is still number 13, is that correct?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yes.
Resolution 11, 2023, 13, resolution to schedule the Village of Hopewell Board of Trustees work session meeting beginning 6 PM on December 4th, with the business meeting to follow immediately. So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to schedule the Village of Hopewell Board of Trustees work session meeting beginning, is that the same thing?
No, once a work session, once
No,
a,
it is, it's the same thing. I did-
So that one,
So we're gonna table this one too. Resolution 11, 2023-13.
No, it's just a repeat of the.
Is it just a
yeah, but
repeat?
one should say
Just
work
the-
session and one
It
should say
says
the Board
work
of Trustees
session.
meeting.
Yeah, it does, with the business meeting to follow immediately. So just just scratch that one off the list because I wasn't
so then
supposed
the
to be there.
numbers should be right.
The numbers are
We don't
correct.
Yeah.
Well, no, 15 still says 14, but resolution number 11, 2023-14, resolution approving the payroll change for Cindy Schleider as building clerk from an hourly rate of $25 an hour to a monthly rate of $475, effective October 30th. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, wait, let me read this other one.
This should read 15.
I'll read it. Resolution 11, 2023-15, resolution adopting the retention and disposition schedule for New York Local Government Records LGS-1, issued pursuant to Article 57A of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law, replacing MU1 as village policy. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then you have to add one for the backup, right?
Oh, yeah, okay. So, let's do resolution number, can I read them out of order?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 11-2023-16, resolution approving the estimate for,
External local backup,
well, what's the amount?
oh, $469.99.
No, wait, for external local backup in the amount of
$469.99
$469.99
payable to act.
payable
That's creative.
to Axe Creative. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Pay
Let's
bills.
do it.
June 30th.
Coming up.
Coming up.
Next.
Constructor Technologies in the amount of $195.15. Then we've got Optimum in the amount of $135.67. Joe Prokop in the amount of $2,668.75. PSEG Long Island in the amount of $497.89. PSEG again for $14.14. Small Business Management Solutions in the amount of $443.15. And Times Beacon Record Incorporated for $431.01 for a total of $4,290.61. Then we've got the Home Depot credit card in the amount of $162.25. Then we've got Paul Edelson in the amount of $250. We've got New York Society of Municipal Finance Officers in the amount of $40, and Cows Cleaning Service in the amount of $400 for a total of $690. Coming up, we've got Canon in the amount of $129, Flynn Stenography for $390.90, Joe Prokop in the amount of $2,368.75, and Verizon Wireless in the amount of $100.79 for a total of $2,989.40. Next up, we have the First National.
We can go over that. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
First National Visa credit card in in the amount of $982.39. We've got Florida Port Jet for $4,712.86, and Wex Bank in the amount of $65.60 for a total of $4,778.46.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, wait. Resolution 11-223-16. 17. Resolution approving all checks. No.
Yes.
That's 16. I did 16.
We added
Okay.
the hard-
Resolution 11-2023-17. Resolution approving all checks as per the voucher report. So moved. All in favor? Motion to adjourn.
808.
8:08. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, callers, for
So,
participating.
the second or the